Hi, I've got a package. Greetings, the Astro30 here yet again, and you've probably judged by the title of the video what this package is. This is the acrylic case to my DSO138. So I'm going to open the package without any further ado, up to their usual standards. Make sure there's nothing else in the bag. No, there's not. Okay, so let's open the bag and have a look at what we've got here. Okay, so they've got some acrylic crafted switch extensions, 3 of them, and a convoluted cluster of assembling the case around the TFT screen. They've given us a bunch of screws, standoffs, nylon standoffs, and nylon screws. Interesting. No instructions, of course. But I'm going to get the DSO out in a minute and try and figure out this bullshit. Well, it looks like they were supposed, from the picture that I saw, there was supposed to be like 3 of these to layer it up. So I don't know how this is supposed to work now. So yeah, interesting. Alright, so I'm going to have to take all the tape off of these acrylic sheets and try and work it out. That's obviously the front, but there's no printing on there to show what each control does. And there doesn't appear to be any extensions for the switch. It looks like I've just got completely ripped off. This is going to be a problem. How am I supposed to push the buttons? There's no thing for it. Well, this is a problem. Okay, and down to the last section of peeling the tape off. Whilst I was off camera there doing the other panels, I think I've figured out how you're supposed to do the switches. I reckon that's what those 4 nylon screw spaces, and there's actually end caps in there too. I reckon that's to extend your switch out to the outside of the case, and you screw, I don't know how successful you could be with the case together, but you screw the end caps on the outside, or from the outside onto the ends of the screw that's sticking out of the case to give it a little button type thing to push. And I really wish I had assembled this kit, because I did notice something the other day when I was testing something. The shoddy construction work that was done on that. I didn't do it, and if I had actually constructed it myself, I would not have done that. And I'll show you what I mean in just a moment after I finish peeling off this tape. I'm just doing the top panel where the BNC socket connects to the lead. But yeah, I just thought that was the most stupidest thing I have ever seen anybody ever do. So now I've got nearly all the tape off. I might go give these panels a quick wipe over with a cloth just to get my sweaty fingerprints off of it. This is what I mean about shoddy construction work. Look at how that transistor is mounted. They've actually left as much lead length on there as possible. It's interfering with the TFT, so they just bend it out the way to make it fit. That's special, I must admit. As I say, I wish I'd built this kit, because I would not have done that ever. That is pretty pathetic. Okay, so I'm going to leave that protective film on till the last minute. So this is me bottom of the thing. I do have some things left over from the other kit. I mean, these things. But the idea I'm assuming here is that this would sit on top like that before the top goes on. How that's meant to stay there is beyond me. That doesn't even line up. Maybe it goes the other way. Yeah, it goes the other way. Okay, so that would just lay on top like that. So I think the idea here is that these switch extensions would sit on top of the switches, and I've lost the other one, there it is. If you can get them to stand up. Is there protective tape on that? Huh, there is too. So I'm going to have to take all the tape off of these too. But yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. And then this contraption then goes and sits on the top. And it's supposed to stop, well, the switch is coming back through the other way. If you can ever get the bull to actually behave itself. So I don't know how I'm supposed to achieve this. There's an extra hole here for the reset switch, but I don't have... Oh yes, I've got 5 nylon screws. This is what I meant about the screws. I reckon you're supposed to pass them through here so that it makes contact with the switch, as long as it doesn't fall out. It'll make contact with the switch like that, and then the top would go on top, because I've actually got wider holes. So I reckon what you would do then is you've got spacers as well. I think they go on the other side of the screw, so it gives some support to this plastic thing. And then this end cap screws on top. I think that's the idea, so I'm going to have to try and figure out how the hell I'm going to get these switches to behave so that they stay there. Alright, we've got 4 of these little nylon spacers. I reckon they go in there, like that, to support the board up. There should still be plenty of space between, I won't worry about the front bit, should be enough space between the top cover and the LCD screen so it doesn't make contact. Yes, there is, there's plenty of space. They're like a 3mm spacer or something. So I'll just put this back in here so I've got some reference. Take that one out. So yeah, that actually brings that BNC socket into center. I can't pick this up. Brings that BNC socket into the center of that hole, so that's fine. So that's what those spacers are for. We got these 4 little round ones, about 5mm long. I don't know if they go on top of the board like this, between here and this weird looking panel. I reckon it does, but yeah, now that's actually interfering with the connectors here. So maybe it's these 4 like so, wherever that one's gone. because this is going to be really awkward to try and get the screws through. I reckon that goes like that. So you got the 3mm, 10mm, and then you've got these 5mm. So I'm wondering if that just goes between that and the top. It looks like it does because it comes real flush with the top edge. So yeah, it does come flush with the top edge. If I put the top cover on there, it actually is flush with the edge with all the spaces in there. So that's what all those spaces are for, and then you'd pass this 20mm long screw, or 25mm long screw, however long it is, through, but it doesn't go all the way through. This is so confusing. Well, there's a large access hole here at the bottom of the case, which is, I think, for these connector pins, and I reckon these either should have been right angled ones or you're supposed to bend them, because these 10mm spaces are actually threaded. They've given us 20mm long screws plus 5 or 6mm long M3 screws as well, so one would screw in from the top and one would screw in from the bottom. But these connectors, the length of the lead there is in the way, so I'd have to carefully bend them at right angles. I'm pretty sure this little connector up here has enough space to clear. Ooh, yeah, not quite, but it is what I'm going with. It's the only way I can see that you can assemble this. This is going to annoy the piss out of me, and put this at a bend. I could, however, just remove it, because I don't actually need that jumper connection. And I just took the LCD panel out of its socket, and look at the poor workmanship on all the transistors. That's very special, that is. Anyway, back onto bending these pins over at right angles, if I can do it carefully with a pair of pliers. Right, that's them bent over as best as I can without stressing the pins on this too much. I really wish I had assembled this, because then I would have thought about all this before I put the components on the board, but excuse me. That is still so special, those transistors. That's just f***ing stupid. Whoever assembled this, please do not do this. That's just stupid, and it looks ugly too. So with the module off, I should be able to better get this assembled in the bottom of the case. This is my only concern now, is this connector. I'm still debating on whether or not just to break the soldering iron out, just to unsolder it to get it out of the way, because I'm not going to use it. Again, I wish I'd have assembled this, because I would not have put that connector on there in the first place, because it's not needed. Don't know what the hell that is. Don't know what the hell that is. It looks like a piece of plastic. Don't know. Get off. Interesting. Alright, I hope you're enjoying this video, because I'm not really enjoying doing this at the moment, because it is kind of convoluted, a cluster and annoying all at the same time. So yeah, I think I've been looking at this now for an hour, so I think I'm going to have a little bit of a break, and I might just unsolder that connection, or connector I should say, because it's not needed. And whilst I'm at it, I'll just go through and double check all these connections, make sure they're soldered properly. They look alright, but yeah, you never can be too sure when you're working with something else that someone else has assembled. Another roadblock I've come across, I've got 5 nylon screws for the switches, but only 4 end caps. They can't count, so one's going to have to go without, which is kind of frustrating right now at this point. But you get the general idea that you're supposed to pass the screws, the nylon screws, through the inside edge of the thing here, and then it just sits on top of the board like that. So what I might do is I might steal the one off of the reset switch, and if at some point, like if I go to JCar or somewhere that I can find something that looks like that, I'll get another one, but they can't count. There's one missing. It's not on the floor. It's not in the bag. It just plain doesn't exist. Okay, anyway, back on to going on to my breaker. Okay, so I've busted out the soldering iron. I'm just going to remove that connector because I don't need it. Hopefully I don't wreck anything in the process. But if you do build this kit, don't include this connector because it just gets in the way. Right, I got one part of it off. One pin survived in the connector, the other one didn't, but that's alright. Not that I need it anyway, so I'll just take a pair of pliers, grab the other end of the wire I don't need, pull it out the board, clean up the mess. Okay, that looks perfect now. I'm happy. Connector is gone. Now I can work on assembling the case. Alright, this is really awkward. Try and get things to stay still. Because once I get two of the halves together, I mean, I'll lay it flat on the desk to make it a lot easier to do. Gravity. See if I can sort of like hold these. There we go. That's what I was planning on doing. So the board then will sit on top of that like that. Then these spaces will go on next. And I find them all. One seems to have buggered off somewhere. Oh, there it is. Oops. Okay, and then I'll take this concoction. I've already put the four main controls on. And all I've got to do is just slip this one up here. Like so, and I believe these just sit on top like that. And then we use the threaded portion, or threaded portions of these, to screw on to the screws. And once I've done this, well, those switches aren't going to stay there, but once I've done this, I can then use a screwdriver to tighten up the other end into the nylon. Actually, that works quite well. What would have been nice to see is some springs in between here and the ends of the screw there, so it gives it a little bit more rigidity, I suppose would be a word for it. So I can then tighten these up as best as I can. They've given us, as I said, 4 of these, which then goes through the top to screw it to the top. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I've just backed myself into a corner though. Oh no, that's fine. That works just nicely. I thought this was going to be worse to assemble with the extra pieces of acrylic case that was shown in the photo, but it's not an issue. So there's an extra hole here, and that's for DC ground, or digital ground I should say, not DC ground. So that would go that direction. If I could like get this to go in. No, I don't think it does. I'm not sure what that hole's for. I think it's not for the LED either. Maybe for a different DC reset, reset switch idea? I don't know. But that does not allow the buttons to push anymore. That one does, that one does, that one doesn't. Well, f me. I'm going to do something that some of you may not agree with. I'm going to slightly countersink the inside of these holes. Yes, it's not polished anymore, but it should make the screws fit a little bit better so they're not pushing right up against the switches, because that is kind of annoying. I reckon I only need like a millimetre, if that. So I'll try that now and see if that makes a difference. Hopefully it does. Right, I think that extra millimetre made a difference. Now the switches work fine. So let me just tighten that up with a screwdriver. Don't have to over tighten it because it is only just nylon. It still work fine. Now I'll test fit my top cover. Oh, lovely. Seems to be a lot of space there. Maybe it's just me, I don't know. It is coming into contact with those switches. This is so piss poor. Piss poor design. Like, seriously? Are you f***ing kidding me? These switches are too high, so how do I solve that? I can probably take a drill bit about that size, go in there and just ream it out a little. I need about probably 2 mil. It should really probably be in line with these end bits. Doesn't matter if the switch is a little loose, but I'll try a drill bit. I hate modifying stuff. It's annoying. Right, don't know how much I need to do this, but I'll just try the one switch, see if that makes a difference. I'll take these other two out. Because are they coming into contact? Oh, okay, that's coming into contact with the switch body now. Is it enough to clear? No, it's not. These bastards are a pain in the ass. I'd need sandpaper in order to sand that down so it fits properly. Whoever designed this can go and get f***ed. Okay, you can see what's coming next. I've got a file, so I'm going to file it down. I found some 6mm long screws which seem to be doing the job a bit better. I just don't think that these were threaded correctly all the way through. If it becomes a problem, I can always use self-tappers if I have to. Yeah, of course. Yep, this is pissing me off now. Absolutely pissing me off. I'm about to snap the thing in half. have to do some more filing on these switch heads. What a pain in the ass. That still goes click every time I try and do it up. This is absolute crap. I think I've got enough room on there for those screws. I should be using metal ones. It'd be better than these nylon pieces of but I've got it to operate as satisfactorily as I want to get it to operate. Not happy at all with the quality of this. It's a piece of it still has a bit of crap on the inside, but I'm not going to take it apart to do that. I'm probably going to get some metal spacers instead of these nylon things. Actually put metal ones in there, so at least then the thread does up properly. But for now I'm going to leave it as it is, and I'm going to test to see that it still works. I don't think that's going anywhere. Looks alright from here. Okay. Okay. Now when I can find my extension lead, I'll plug it in and see if it still works. Hopefully it does. Apparently it does. Does it still measure anything? That's the next question. Got that grounded. There we go. AC. Yep, it still works, ×2. Okay, let me hook up a function generator and we'll verify that it actually is still operating. Yep, apparently it still works. Where's the amplitude? What are we on? Sine. Yeah, it's still working as a measuring device. I'm just not happy with the way that this all fits together. It's all kind of a cluster. So, to the Chinese idiot that designed this, go f yourself. Honestly, go f yourself. That's got to be the shittiest design that I have ever come across. But everything seems to still function. That reset switch. Actually, when I think about it, the reset switch is probably not that important. But it's there. Pardon me. Alright, well I'm going to end this video here. I'm the Astro30. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to rate, comment and subscribe below. And you can always follow me on Facebook and Twitter. The links are in the description. Now if you like, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1 a month. Anyway, this is the Astro30 saying, see ya, have a great day. I'm going to work on this a bit later.